Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to speak briefly, and then I want to take a few of your questions. I want to start by saying I have respect for our elected officials in this state. I have respect for the office of Lieutenant Governor, and I certainly have a great amount of respect for Lieutenant Governor Matos. But what I want to say is we are on day 5 of our state talking about the fraud that has permeated the Lieutenant Governor's campaign. And we're now in a position where the Attorney General and the state police are investigating this issue. As I've said from the beginning of this, I have been shocked by the silence of the Lieutenant Governor, because at a time where there are active threats to democracy, we see them in the news where Republicans around the country are seeking to undermine the legitimacy of our elections. We here have not heard from the Lieutenant Governor, who should be reassuring Rhode Islanders and holding her people, her campaign staff accountable to the decisions that were made along the way that has led to investigations at so many levels. Look, I've worked for 2 presidents and a governor. I know when public servants lead, they need to speak. Famously, as Harry Truman said, the buck stops here. In this instance, I don't know where the buck is stopping. Rhode Islanders are demanding answers. I, as a voter here, am demanding answers as well. Her campaign has issued statements that seek to move on past this issue, while they're under investigation with known allegations in at least 3 towns, and a district-wide investigation being led by the AG. The last week of this campaign, for all of us, has been shrouded in confusion, in scandal, and hasn't been focused on the issues that Rhode Islanders actually care about. We are electing someone to the United States Congress. That is very serious. That is very serious. Yet we've been talking about signatures. And so this is a distraction. It is clearly a distraction. And that's why today I am asking that the Lieutenant Governor carefully consider the path forward for her campaign. The public trust in her elections is of utmost importance. As the Attorney General said just yesterday on the radio, the criminal investigation will not be completed in a matter of days. It takes time to interview witnesses, collect evidence, determine where criminality began and where it ended. It is possible, and this is something that people need to think hard about. It's possible the Lieutenant Governor continues on in this race. We enter Election Day, this primary on September 5th, unsure of what happened. I don't think that's reassuring. Rhode Islanders deserve to know that all the candidates present on their ballot this upcoming September are meant to be there. Nothing that I have heard makes me confident in that fact today. And so this issue is more broadly about what type of representative Rhode Islanders need in Congress. We got big fights going on. Big fights. When Republicans are trying to tear down Social Security and Medicare, preventing progress on gun violence prevention, trying to restrict a woman's right to choose. We can't afford silence. You can't go to Congress and be silent. So in the midst of a scandal that has engulfed our televisions and newspapers, and certainly our radio, the Lieutenant Governor has made herself available for no interviews. This is just something that I think people should look as they make an assessment about who they want to send to Congress. You can't be silent. You can't rely on spokespeople. You can't have statements that want to move on. Ignoring these issues will not make them go away. I'll say it again. Ignoring these issues will not make them go away. So for the next 7 weeks, we should not be focused on whether the system here in Rhode Island has been compromised, knowingly or unknowingly. I am frustrated, and I know many Rhode Islanders are frustrated at this point. And I think it is of utmost importance that we have faith in our leaders to speak, to hold people accountable, to take responsibility, and take the necessary actions when needed to really restore faith in our democracy here, but more importantly, on how we are going to work and serve Rhode Islanders. And that's what I'm focused on, and that's why I'm here today. with that, I'd like to take some questions.
You said you're demanding answers. To what kind of questions?
I'm looking for answers to questions on the timeline, the actions, who knew what, when. Right? At the end of the day, we haven't heard from the Lieutenant Governor, so we are doing our own investigations, whether it's talking to people in the supermarket or having conversations on the radio. Why does it take this long, involved process? We're on day 5.
Are you asking her to step down?
I look, if that's something we arrive at, that's not something that I'm calling for today, but I'm saying there needs to be an inventory taken of what has happened and a reflection on the amount of distraction that has taken place. Think about this. There's an investigation at multiple levels. The Attorney General, the state police, local police, state boards, local boards of canvassers, and right behind us, the Board of Elections. That's a lot of levels of government involved in this. And so I would take a hard look at this situation, take an inventory of this situation and the distraction it is presented, and the fact that we are not focusing on the things that are most important to this election or serving Rhode Islanders.
The Board of Elections is meeting at 2 o'clock right there. Do you think they should remove her from the primary ballot?
I'm not going to prejudice their actions today. I had hoped at this point we would hear from the Lieutenant Governor herself. We have not. I think they should do their due diligence. They should review as robustly. Look, my campaign, for example, we had clear-cut instructions for our volunteers, for our staff. We had process around this. And in fact, even in an abundance of caution, we called around to all 19 cities and towns in the district to ask questions. Is there anything that we should be concerned about? Is there anything that we should know? I think that we should have integrity baked into this process, and I'm hopeful that we see that as this goes on. But I will defer.
I will challenging her nomination.
I am not, because I had expected, maybe naively so, that the Lieutenant Governor would speak out on this and share a bit more herself. But we're on day 5 now.
You talked about leadership.
Yeah.
What does this say about her leadership and or her abilities? Your silence. What does that say?
I think it speaks for itself.
We've got time for 2 more questions.
Mr. Ramo, during the gubernatorial election, there were significant challenges and issues during this ballot access, this signature process. They got a lot less press because they happened to minor candidates. Ironically, there was a criminal investigation that came out of Jamestown. One of the third-party candidates took over a month to actually positively verify their signatures. Is it time for a complete takedown of this system, a reevaluation, and just as to how, for example, the sanctity of these ballot nomination papers are maintained? They're driven in cars by individuals. Is the entire process a mess and needs to be reworked?
Look, I'm going to leave that for our reflection after this moment. But right now, we have something right in front of us. We have a campaign whose leadership, and that is the Lieutenant Governor, is yet to speak. The Attorney General said it on the radio just yesterday when he was on with Tara Granahan. He said that at the end of the day, we as elected officials are responsible for our campaigns. We put our names on the signs. We are responsible for the actions. He said that. And he's someone I know that is revered and respected in this state. You have to surround yourself with good people. That's a reflection of leadership. You have to surround yourself with different decision makers along the way. And so ultimately, what I would say to the broader process, sure, let's look at it. But today we need to focus on what's right in front of us. Rhode Islanders are making a big choice starting August 16th for early voting and September 5th on Election Day. And they should not have any doubts, any questions about the names that appear before them.
Did you review all the signatures on your nomination papers?
No, I did not personally review, but my
did
team.
Your staff?
Yes.
Review each one with the voter registration.
So they reviewed. We generally note people that we find in the voter file to match them up. But we, like any campaign, has their own process. The fact of the matter here is people do get kicked off for a host of reasons. Wrong district, they ineligible voter. One reason or another. But what we see here is an investigation taking place in at least 3 jurisdictions. That is problematic, and we see the names of dead folks, the names of elected officials, city council people from the city of East Providence, who said they never saw that. So what I would say here is that you see a pattern, and that's problematic, where I've worked on campaigns. You all might know I started my career working on campaigns. I've collected signatures myself, and I have never thought to put any name of someone on a sheet.
Do you have any advice to the Board of Elections when they meet today?
They should be rigorous. I would say they should be rigorous. This election is coming soon. Rhode Islanders are expecting a lot out of them, and they are public servants. You know, I think they get a small stipend still to be on the Board of Elections, but they're essentially volunteers. I know this is hard. This is not how they wanted to spend their summers. Frankly, I don't think anybody in the 1st Congressional District wanted to spend their time talking about signatures. They wanted to talk about serving people, helping people. That's why I left the White House. I left working for the president at the White House to come home and serve the people I care most about in the world. And I know that the public service that they are demonstrating by being here today is something that I value and appreciate, and I thank them for being part of this process.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.